drugdje. Kako vi danas vidite te silnice na svijetu?
Well, the power is still based in Washington and Wall Street, the locus of power in the world. The military might of the United States, through controlling NATO, through all the different bases they have around the world, is awesome. It's unparalleled. The next 42 countries combined don't spend as much as the Pentagon does per year on its military hardware and software. But that being said, it's in a sense a paper tiger, even with nuclear teeth. And what they don't have is a will to fight for something that's passionately, humanly right. And the rest of the world has that in varying degrees. And that really is the ultimate downfall of this system. It's a Thomas Jefferson, who was a fascinating man as president and also as statesman, once said that when a government fears its own people, that's a democracy. When the people fear the government, that's a tyranny. And what's happened in my own lifetime, I passionately love what's great about the United States and American people, but that is being systematically destroyed. And since 2001 September, you have a climate where Americans live in a climate of fear, constant fear of terror attacks, of their children getting some horrendous disease, so they're told you have to vaccinate, fear of losing your job, fear of almost everything imaginable. And in that kind of climate, people can't function as human beings. So we're in these powerful families are still based in the physical land space of the United States as a platform, but they genuinely view the world as their property. That's why I called the title of one of my books, The Gods of Money. They view themselves as gods sitting on Mount Olympus, simply dictating who lives and who dies, who's going to be the drone ants or the worker bees for their ambitions. And I, for one, think there's a better way to structure our world, so that's why I do what I do.
Htjela bih naravno da ostanem još malo i na tome. Najčešće su ljudi koji vladaju svijetom, koji imaju moć i financijsku moć, upravo oni koji pokreću na neki način i kulturu, kao kroz donacije, kroz izgradnju javnih biblioteka, recimo u prošlom stoljeću i pretprošlom u Americi, kroz otvaranje škola, kroz donacije, izgradnju recimo koncertnih dvorana i tako dalje. Htjela bih da malo objasnite taj njihov aspekt djelovanja kroz koji se oni zapravo stvaraju imidž dobrotvora u svojoj zajednici.
Sure. Well, the founding of museums and monuments and so forth is really part of building this religion of these gods of money. All of it's tax exempt. The best example for it in the United States is the Rockefeller Foundation, which was created in 1913 out of the fortune of Standard Oil Trust by John D. Rockefeller, the founder of it. And all the museums, for example, during the Second World War, or between the First World War and the Second World War, actually, some of the priceless cultural objects of Europe were simply looted by the Rockefeller family and put into a museum on the top of Manhattan. I used to live across the street from that museum. It's called the Cloisters. You have the unicorn tapestry. You have just priceless cultural relics. All of that was tax exempt. So for the Rockefeller family, it was just another aspect of their business. All of the foundation projects are tax exempt. So they use the foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, another example, the largest today, Ford Foundation, to enhance their power and their wealth. So culture is a great tax exempt way for them to do this. It also has this feel-good feeling for them that they're these wonderful people, when in reality they're doing horrendous things in the world through their policies.
Ostanimo još malo na tom odnosu kulture i kapitala. Možda da pređemo i u današnju Europu. Često se u medijima može čuti kako se London naziva London gradom upravo zato što njime vladaju ruski oligarsi, ruski kapital. Što se zbiva danas u Europi? Koliko kultura uopće može biti izuzeta iz tih procesa globalnih, iz novih centara moći i uopće iz ekonomskih, dakle, previranja u svijetu?
Well, I think the question of culture is a very fundamental and a very broad one. Really, each era has and each part of the world has an own culture, an own art, an own mathematics, if you will, an own science, as well as an own economic system. And what's happening in Europe today is a reflection, I think, of the fact that an old culture, the culture of Western Europe for the last 300-400 years, is breaking down, and something new hasn't yet replaced it. So, yes, of course, Russian oligarchs are buying football clubs in London and vast estates for millions, but something more fundamental is also going on in the interstices or in the cracks. And I know through my writings and so, I know a number of young artists, either Russian or French, European, and so forth. And what they're doing is using art and culture to do what I do through my books, sometimes with comedy, sometimes with humor and so forth, with cabaret, and sometimes with images. And that really is a very, very important part of culture. It's not simply the most visible ones of these billionaires buying up this, that, and the other thing.
Zanima me što mislite uopće o subverziji danas. Koliko, recimo, umjetnost, kultura mogu biti jaki pokretači u društvu? Imaju li uopće snagu u ovakvom kapitalističkom sistemu i tržišnom zapravo sistemu gdje taj sistem odmah usiše svaku provokaciju?
Well, the model that is being exported to the world